What's good, everybody? Today's video is going to be a general discussion around the current state of Delta Force. The game has been out for almost 4 months now, and it's at the point where it's still a lot of fun, but it's getting a little bit stale and repetitive too. Before we continue, this is not a rant video. This is a video to highlight the concerns of the community, the player base, etc. And I've also prepared some concept art ideas of things I would love to see changed, added, removed, which I think would make the game a whole lot better. You may disagree. I would love to hear your feedback and your thoughts on the game below. What would you like to see changed? Let's start a conversation in the comments, guys. On the last update, Delta Force brought in the gear cap for easy mode, so PvP has never been better in my own opinion, but it's left us with another problem, which is going to be the first talking point of this video, and that is loot. Now, before we continue, I want to say that in my position, I do not think that we should be getting red items as loose loot on easy. No Hearts of Africa is on easy, no 1.2 million items, you know, unless it's from a safe to bring value to key cards. But anywhere else, like Bird's Nest, Manholes, etc., you shouldn't be pulling reds on easy. You want that risk and reward factor for normal mode. That's my opinion. I want to hear yours below in the comments. So let's talk about the problem that I think is we're going to have on easy mode right now. The loose loot that I'm finding on easy mode, you know, it's items that no longer have a purpose. People are not inclined to pick up. Like, I hit the substation in the Zero Dam and it was like 5 keyboards. 5 keyboards was all I got at the top floor. Now, you know, you don't really need keyboards for anything at this stage of the game. The majority of the player base has upgraded their black site already. The keyboards don't sell for anything, you know, so this is obviously an issue where we're at the point the economy is where it is and people are not really picking up a lot of these items that are in the raid. So I do think that either we need to change the quality of the items or give them a purpose, give the players a reason to pick these items up, which brings me to an idea which I think should be brought into the game. You guys know that you can barter items for weapons, but we can't do it for weapon parts and attachments. So I think that would be a strong thing to add to the game where, you know, you can use the lesser items like your photographs and drawings and things like that nature, where if you walk out with those, then you can at least trade those in for weapon attachments that would normally cost you 50k for a suppressor or something. So I think that would be a touch. You can see an idea of concept art that I've made on the screen, just copy and paste pretty much, but you get the gist. So barter items, I think that would be huge to be added specifically for weapon attachments, not just weapons. So that's the first idea. And then obviously maybe rotate each week what barter items for each attachment is to keep it fresh, kind of like what they do already with the T&E lab, only on a wider scale. And then maybe make the T&E lab for more expensive gear like gold armor or something, you know what I mean? Just to bring more value to that. It could balance out nicely in my opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Mandelbrick. It's not a huge problem, but it's not really worth it now, you know what I mean? I'm not a cosmetics guy. I really don't care how my gun looks. As long as it shoots okay, then that's my priority. I'm a casual gamer. I'm a father of 2. I've got a full-time job. I've not got time to be grinding camos, you know what I mean? So it's not a priority of mine. The Mandelbrick in the alpha was amazing. It used to be you would get like a gold helmet if your teammate didn't copy the Mandelbrick and get their version of it, their reward. Then I would be able to claim theirs too. So things like gold helmets, a full purple kit you could end up getting with ammo, a decked out AUG, you know. So it was something that would be you can put to use. Whereas now, Mandelbricks, you need a key, you need to pay money for, or play Warfare. I'm not a big fan of Warfare. I don't want to play it. I want to play the operations mode. And if you're a cosmetics guy, I get the appeal why you would want to go for it. But for me, I want to just obviously, if I'm going to push something dangerous that everybody in the game is going to go to, I want to get something that I can use as a reward for it. So I do think that needs to get tweaked. I'm not a big fan of having to then buy keys you never used to in the alpha. I don't think Mandelbricks right now are worth it anymore. Another feature, it's not a major one, but I think it could be huge and just bring a little bit better of quality of life to your raids, is bringing in a dedicated slot for stims. Stims don't have any love in this game, to be honest with you guys. Nobody really uses them because, you know, you're playing a game where characters have abilities. However, they do come in clutch from time to time, especially like your combat stimulant when you're filling your stamina back up. This event right now that I don't think anybody ever asked for, it was cool for 5 minutes, but that's it, I'm over it. it kind of just takes away any need for stims at the moment in time, and I think we should have a dedicated slot for stims where you don't lose it, similar nature to key cards, so people don't actually have to use up their space in their inventory whenever they're in raid. They can dedicate the stims into an assigned pouch and then, you know, have them available for them. I think that would bring the value up a little bit for each of the stims, because they're like 3 or 4 grand, 3 or 4k, and then that's it. So they don't really have any love right now. Yeah, so like I said, not an important one, but still a good, nice quality of life one that I think would be a good introduction to the game. So before we continue to talk about more things that we want to see change, I kind of want to discuss ideas I've drawn up concept art for, which I think could bring more life to each raid, you know, more value, excitement, rather than just doing the easy, typical go kill a high value target. If there was other in-game events that was not Iron Dome or the Wall Breaker, if you could do things like calling in a care package, you know, that would be huge. We had the Chinese New Year event, which was kind of cool, you know, it brought players together to fight, and if you could do that by finding a loot item, whether it's either a flare gun or a smoke grenade signal, if that dropped a care package with high tier loot, that would be an awesome feature to have, you know, especially for an extraction shooter. It could be huge, and obviously making quiet areas of the map kind of busy and encouraging PvP. Also, another good thing that I think would be very good for especially Space City is an emergency extraction. So, you know, Space City, Brakesh, sometimes those extraction zones could be kind of tedious, a pain in the arse, and if you could find an extraction flare gun, and it would call in maybe like a helicopter which would hover for 2 minutes, giving fair amount of time for other teammates to push to your position and shoot down your helicopter and, you know, intercept you, then that would be a great feature, I think, you know. And also, even if you wanted to go as far as, you know, you don't leave the raid, but you can empty your bag into this extraction, or you can empty all of your loot, and then you stay in the raid, but all your loot goes to your inventory, and then it just gives you another, you know, 10-15 minutes in your game to raid, to loot again. That would be huge. Tarkov introduced this on Streets of Tarkov, and I think this could be huge in this game too. Other things I think could be huge as well is maybe bringing in more features, better missions. I mean, I'm sick to death of just get 10 grand by killing the one high value target. Like I said earlier, the AI doesn't really challenge you in this game. In Tarkov, you kind of fear the scavs because you can get a buckshot to the face from 70 yards out. It's, you know, it's what makes it so intense, is that how easy you can die in Tarkov. I'm not saying to die easily in Delta Force, but I think the AI doesn't really pose any threat at all. So I think we should bring in different kinds of factions where we've got the AI that we've got, but maybe bring in a different faction that are really hard to kill, or at least they do a lot of damage to you. You know, so for example, if you had AI bots that dealt the damage of normal mode AI, but you had them in easy and then obviously normal to hard, that would be huge. Maybe bring in more exciting missions for us also, like bring a convoy in to, you know, protect the convoy from Blue Wharf up to the labs, and, you know, people would see you on the map and try to intercept you. That would be cool. Or maybe trigger an assault on the dam to kind of flood the dam, change the map layout, limit where you can go to cross over the river with these events. You know, like some fun things like that would be huge in Delta Force, because like I said, right now it's kind of getting too repetitive in game, and I think like little ideas like this could go a long way. If you've got any ideas, man, let me know. But let's move on. Those are just kind of like concept ideas that I've thrown together, which I think could be very nice touches to an extraction shooter like Delta Force. So let's talk about a wipe. You know, this might be the biggest discussion that we could have in this video, and I want to hear your thoughts below. Do you think Delta Force will need to wipe soon? I don't mean right now, but like in general have wipes. I personally believe that it should, because as an extraction shooter, we're already 4 months in right now, and people, you know, players already have gold ammo, all their premium containers, and their inventories filled with reds and golds. I understand a lot of the player base doesn't have that yet, but overall, we're at the point now where there's not much left to do. A lot of people are not even grinding the game anymore for missions. So, like, wiping everything back to fresh and then bringing up permanent updates with it. So rather than giving us an update event for every 2 weeks, you know, if they brought in changes that were permanent per wipe, like a map expansion, and then giving us, you know, giving us an event which would be permanent. So for example, the labs event that we just had, where there was a chopper, 2 bosses, even if they just left a chopper there and as a permanent feature, you know, moving forward with a wipe, that would be huge. Permanent changes that could be included as, you know, to your security container, limit what you can put in that. You already can't put weapon attachments in there. Maybe bring in a change where you can't put ammo in there or red items. Bring in that risk factor, that intensity to your raid, where when you clutch up and you get a red item, it's like, oh damn, I need to get out, I need to go and reset. And bring a little bit more danger to it as well. I feel like the AI is just a little bit too easy right now. It needs to be challenging because the game has abilities. You know, it's easy to do missions now. You know, you're not in Tarkov. If you guys have played Tarkov, you know the early wipe, having to get the pocket watch and all that. You kind of dread it for a little bit. But this is not that kind of game because you've got characters that can heal themselves, use smoke nades on the fly, you know, so you don't die as easy, which means that you're going to do the missions a lot faster in this game. And eventually, once you've done them all, you will have nothing else to do. Yes, they're going to bring out seasonal missions, but again, they're not going to take long to do per update, per new season. So I do think that the game should wipe. Maybe bring in more difficult tasks, you know, rather than just the ones that are really go investigate this, go investigate that. You know, bring specifics into it and, you know, maybe like Shooter Born in Heaven kind of tasks, like you need to headshot the last person of a 3-man squad, so your last kill is an insta-kill, you know, kind of like that. Those kind of tasks, something just to keep it spicy. But a wipe, people are sitting on hundreds of millions at this point, and we're only 4 months in, and we've still to go to console, mobile, and it's like, well, great, those players are going to just be experiencing it, but the PC community, we've already capped it out. We're pretty much just doing PvP, and after time, people will get bored of doing the same thing. So resetting everything and maybe rework the economy as well. And we're going to talk about the economy in just a moment too. So I do think this game should wipe. I would love to hear your thoughts on it also. And on top of that, you have the best PvP experience at the beginning of wipe anyway. See, when you know that you could die because you're running green and like clear ammo. Like, those are the fun, intense feelings you want to feel in an extraction shooter, rather than I'm just going to go in with a all purple and gold kit and stuff like that. You know, challenge yourself, challenge the community a little bit. That's my thoughts on the wipe, guys. I would love to hear yours. Now let's talk about the economy. So right now, the economy is on its arse, let's not lie about it, and the game developers have pretty much told us that we are not ready for hard mode, and that's not our fault. At the end of the day, they price everything in the game. Sure, you know, the player base does control a little bit of the auction and what things are priced at, but the game developers have got the overall touch of control, and by obviously introducing more hefty tax fees, so they can regulate the cost of everything. So when you look at the black site, things cost, like the higher you rank up your black site, the more expensive it becomes, you know, where you're paying like 13 million to update something to get extra load capacity or something, or you want to buy a container, you know, a new weapons crate or a premium gear crate or something, you're going to have to spend a good couple of million on top of that there as well. And then when you look at barter items for like gold vests or even weapons, the meta gun would probably trade in for about 150k worth of barter items as opposed to just buying it. So when you're like, well, maybe just mix it up a little bit, start reworking what things are needed to be traded for. And then that's when, like I said earlier, barter items for attachments will bring more value. Bringing in stims, people can loot those and sell, maybe make a little bit more profit that way. But right now, it's kind of a slap in the face for us as the player base not to get hard mode and then be told that it's because we're not ready. The charge of everything in this game that's not balanced enough. You know, you go from zeros to extremes with prices and things, and it's kind of ridiculous. And then on top of that, you've got map rotation. The map rotation is the biggest inconvenient thing about Delta Force for me personally. Like I said, I've got commitments. I'm a father. I've got a full-time job. I tend to get on to game at the same time, more or less every time. And when I do, I don't have my favourite map available to play normal on. I love Alley Grove. It's my favourite map, I would say, and get really good PvP fights and rotations available for it on there. But I can't play normal mode because when I get on to play, it's not available for another 2 hours. And by that time, we're hitting to the end of the night. I need to get ready for bed for work in the morning. So I would maybe suggest that open up all maps for normal mode, easy mode, maybe try the hard mode rotation map, you know, because you're naturally going to have the problem of cheaters. We've already got that problem. We don't need to highlight that. We know where we stand with our thoughts on cheaters. Let's not waste too much of our breath on it. Every map has a cheater on it, but 9 times out of 10 you'll find them in the maps that are in rotation, you know, because the cheaters are being forced to go to those maps. But unfortunately, the other side of the coin is the whole player base suffers for it. For me, for example, would be one of those guys where I can't play a map that I would love to play in normal mode due to it not being available. So maybe try and, you know, experimenting with new features on it, tweaking it a little bit would be something I would suggest there. But right now, the map rotation, what an absolute nightmare of a feature. I hate it. I realise this is a longer video, so thank you for watching. We're going to finish up and just quickly touch on like small but effective quality of life changes that I think should be added to the game, you know. So first off would be bringing in a priority system for looting. So whether the person that got the kill, you know, let them search up everything in the bag first before anyone else can take anything, or wait until that person takes the dog tags, which then allows the rest of the team to do it, and have that selected for randoms only, not in a squad, you know, so you can turn it on and off if you've got a team already. So something like that. Another small pain in the arse that I find is whenever you finish a raid, you click on move all, it removes everything from your secure container, and then you need to go and fill that container back up. So I hate that. So I think that would be something I would really enjoy not having to do every time I finished a raid. So that would be another one. They need to stop bringing out updates and events that we can't participate in the global version. So you guys may have been picking up like the Asara tribal tokens. I've got a bunch of them. We can't do anything with them, to my understanding. I think that's for the Chinese version. And the time before that, that was like handing red folders of the groups of people that you killed. I never came across any of those folders. So, you know, bring in updates that we can actually play would be a good one. I think they should bring in a feature where you pick up your teammate, no matter if it's knocked or completely downed, that it does stop your timer from bleeding out, because I've actually had a toxic teammate pick me up, hold me until I bled out just so he could take my loot. That was pretty much it. Hadn't spoken to the guy, he'd just done it. I reported him like a salty bitch, but it happens. But that would be another one. So obviously, if you don't get along with your random teammates and they pick you up and hold on to you until you bleed out, it's a really sour taste in your mouth after it, you know. Another change I would like to see is being able to lock items and loot into your inventory so that the sort system doesn't really mess it up. You know, I get OCD when I play Tetris with my stash and it looks nice, and then after a raid I hit sort and it just messes it all up again. And, you know, I think that if we could have at least locked items to make as much space as possible, that would be another nice little touch. So guys, that's pretty much the video. I want to say thank you for your time. I know it's a longer one, but I feel like it's a necessary one because, like I said, it's something to highlight the situation that we're in right now with Delta Force. If you guys have got ideas you want to see change with the game or you want to see added to the game, please, let's talk about it below. I do love interacting with you guys. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about it. We'll see you guys in the next one.